Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the This Is the Music Meets Podcast, an independent podcast show that's dedicated to introducing you to rising indie and alternative artists from across the UK and Ireland. If you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss out on any future episodes, and don't be shy. Drop us a comment. We really do love hearing from you. All right, then, let's dive into it. This is episode 141, and we've got another incredible artist lined up for you today. On today's This Is the Music Meets podcast, I'm joined by fast emerging indie rockers Park View. Over the course of today's episode, we're going to get the lowdown on the band's The Pretty Sounds EP, upcoming live dates, and much, much more. So it is a very warm welcome to the podcast to Alfie, the front man from Park View.
Hello.
Hello, how you doing, pal?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. Good, mate. Well excited to get into this.
Brilliant. Good. It's good to have you here. And obviously, it's your second appearance on the This Is the Music Meets podcast. When I was doing my research for this, I can't believe how quickly the time's flown. It was.
Yeah, I know we're all grown up now.
Well, I'll take your word for that one. I'm not sure about myself, but yeah, it was back in August 23, and the link, episode 77, and the link to that is going to be in the episode bio. So it'd be fantastic if you could check out that episode and sort of some of the predictions and see whether or not if Parkview did meet them or not. But obviously a lot's happened since then. You must be pleased to be back now with with some more new music.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're in a really good place at the minute. We've been in the studio getting some things down. So yeah, it's good to have some more stuff out. More people can hear it and see what we're doing, see what we're all about.
Yeah, sure, definitely. And obviously for people that haven't checked out Parkview's music yet, how would you describe like the sound in, in a sentence? We'll say we won't give you 3 words. That'd be harsh.
I think our sound is very punchy, summer indie rock vibes. You know what I mean? For fans of the Smiths, the Strokes, or the Monkees, Sam Fender, people who just love an indie boogie. I think that would be where we slot in.
Well, some great artists to mention there, and I love that as well. Nice little indie boogie as well.
Absolutely, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, is that something that you do personally when you're out and about? A little boogie,
Yeah, I think there's maybe a little bit too much. Some of my friends would say. Some of the dance moves I whip out are pretty deadly. So
someone's got to do them, though, right?
Absolutely, someone's got to.
Brilliant. And obviously your last single that you released was called Lights. That was obviously March 2024. It's just gone past the old 14,000 Spotify streams barrier. So massive congratulations.
Yeah, thanks.
That. So how comes then there's been like a bit of a wait from that single, and obviously then the EP that came out last week, The Pretty Sounds?
Yeah, so Pretty Sounds was kind of something that we've had in our repertoire for a while. Oh, is that yeah?
Yeah, that's it. He's back now.
I don't know what happened there, but so Lights we recorded a while back, and that was originally the start of this idea to release an EP. But throughout, it's taken a long time. Just we've had a lot of work commitments. We've had some family bereavements and stuff within the band as well. So it's been a pretty difficult time to get some stuff down. And we've literally been in the studio for about, I don't know, like 6 months maybe.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's really, we've been really like meticulously going through every single strand of every single song to make sure it's perfect. But yeah, apart from that, we've just been just taking our time, going through some changes as a band, going through some changes as people, and really evolving into the music that we're creating. So I think that's kind of why there's been such a long stretch. Mm-hmm. It's nice to be able to come back with 5 tunes, instead of just another single. But yeah, the EP as well, I think, was a good opportunity for us to get a project out there rather than singles, because it's just, you'll know as well, like the industry just kind of bats away anything that's not a single. It just doesn't work at the minute. So I think for us, it was nice to put a full project out there. So in 20 years, I can look back and be like, got an EP out on Spotify, on Apple Music, like it's a bit different. Something quite nice about that. But yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I do agree with you. It seems to be, I don't know whether or not if it's the industry or whether or not if it's sort of more targeted at, the consumer. That's why it's gone, the way that it has. It's all singles rather than, like an EP and I think people are still releasing EPs, obviously, and albums. But yeah, it is to me a bit of a strange one because I mean personally I prefer to sort of, don't get me wrong, I like listening to singles, but I prefer getting into to use the word you like a project there and you can really get into it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think absolutely. I think it highlights different aspects of like writing and like the creativity behind a band. Like I much prefer listening to an LP start to finish than just a couple of singles because I feel like anyone looks great if you take their singles. But if someone can make a half decent album, that's when you really separate people who have got some good talent. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, totally agree with you there on that, and fingers crossed that more artists, if you're listening, do please release more EPs, more albums, go for it. That's the best way, in certainly in my view, anyway. But obviously, with the EP, as we mentioned, it's called The Pretty Sounds. So where did the name come from then for that? Is that sort of like a general sort of like idea and sort of into what the album sounds like? Sorry, the EP sounds like.
Yeah, I mean, it isn't. It isn't. It the original idea came from the last song on the EP is called Pretty Sounds, so it was kind of like a title track idea, and we thought, why not name it that because it is kind of a collection of our best work. So
Yeah.
although it might be a bit on the nose and a bit cocky, the Pretty Sounds EP just kind of wormed its way into the notes files on my phones, and that's kind of where it all came from.
Yeah, sure. And obviously, you've mentioned we were just saying there about sort of getting into the sort of like nuts and bolts of people's writing and stuff like that. So is there then sort of like an overriding theme, or like emotion that you're trying to capture across the 5 tracks?
Yeah, so our writing techniques actually, what we do is we just write together. The whole band gets involved. Um, all the different songs are written by different people, and like, so for example, I wrote That Feeling, which is the first track on the EP. So I presented that to the band, but I didn't really know like what kind of pattern I'd like behind it, or like what kind of solo. I'm not a lead guitarist, I'm not a drummer, so having people who can like chime in and help write that and help bring it all to completion is like what we do best. Like I think that's what we thrive on. And the same with when Alex presented Pretty Sounds, like we went through the lyrics and like had a couple of tweaks here and there. It's never a finished job. So I think it's a very collective writing style that we kind of go for. The vibe, the vibe's just easy rock, easy listening. Just wanted to sort of give people a taste of what we've loved doing over the last couple of years.
Yeah, so then is that then a case of like musically and emotionally then is that effectively where Parkview are at the moment then with the sound of this? Was there any like other songs that maybe were up for consideration?
Yeah. I mean, we've got a backlog of, I don't know, honest. Alex, our lead guitarist Alex, churns out 100 songs a week. He's absolutely nuts. But he's got like a file, so every song he writes, he gives it a number, and he's like just kept going from one. I think he's on like 380 or something now in the last 2 years. Like he's pretty much churning out a song every couple of days. But there was a couple that skipped the mark just about, but they will be on their way. Hopefully one day we'll get back into the studio over the summer. We're looking at doing some new stuff, some new exciting edges to the music. But yeah, I wouldn't say that this EP necessarily defines the sound, just because I think people who do it best adaptable. Changing the sound. I quite like the idea of that project being a standalone sort of vibe, and then maybe moving on to something else, maybe trying something new, not saying we're going to start writing some sort of like heavy Metallica, emo, like crazy stuff, you know what I mean? But I think it's cool to have the openness of it doesn't have to all be the same, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think as well that, which is kind of what you're sort of alluding to a little bit there, is that I guess it makes it quite fresh and exciting for you. Obviously, saying there that you're all contributing ideas and all writing songs, so I guess that must make it quite, as I say, fresh and exciting. And I guess as well from a like a fan perspective as well, it keeps you guessing because you're not quite sure what's going to come next.
Yeah, absolutely. That's keeping everyone on their toes. I think that's where we do our best work. But yeah, I definitely it's definitely exciting for me because I feel like at the minute we go into the studio, into the practice room, and I don't know what anyone's. I'm never like thinking like, oh, I've heard that before. Like everything that's coming out at the minute is like really fresh and like, it's a completely different spin on some of like our old genres that we've been into already. So I think, yeah, we're in a really exciting time at the minute, and writing together, I think, is how we get the best out of that.
Yeah, sure. And where then did you record the EP? Because I know before when you was on back in 23, as I said, it sounded like I think you'd just gone in with a new producer for the first time. So was you working with the same producer this time, or is it someone different? And
Yeah, so
how did you find the process?
we met our producer called Martin Corkill through some mutual friends who'd also been working with him on other projects.
Yeah.
So yeah, we did our first debut single with him only. That we yeah, it was just such a fun experience. But at the time, he just started building his studio, and it's in the West End of Newcastle. It's rough and ready. It's just a good, yeah, it's just a classic little place to be. But he started making it himself, like building all the walls, all the soundproofing, all the wiring, everything. He's pretty much built himself, and it was nice being able to go back there and being like, it's complete. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean? It
yeah.
really, and like the room that we recorded everything in, just like, I don't know, it's just got this aura about it. I like the fact that it's like just in like this like unit in the West End of Newcastle that no one really knows about it yet, hopefully. But yeah, West 15 Studios, that's what it's called. And Martin's just, he's just a bit of a genius. He really helps in not only the production side of stuff, but he helps with like writing. And like
Right.
he's a drummer as well. He's a fantastic drummer, so he really helps with like beats, and like he'll happily tell you if he thinks something's shite or if he thinks it's good. Like he's got no problems doing that, which I love. I think it's good to have someone who can like combat you and tell you if you make it a stupid decision before you make it. Do you
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah, sure. And you guys obviously then within the band are quite happy and quite open to sort of taking that sort of feedback, I guess, on
Oh, absolutely. I think if you're not, then you're never gonna make it. Like like if I sat in my bedroom and recorded a tune start to finish and didn't show anyone, I don't think anyone's gonna like it because that's just I find it better being able to show someone and then they'll go, I don't like this bit, or maybe it's too long, or maybe you could get rid of this and replace it with this, or have you tried playing this chord over it instead, or changing up the pre-chorus? Like you don't get any of that if you just do it in your own mind.
yeah.
You just it's just you're getting trapped. Do you know what I mean? You're getting encapsulated on this one idea, so it's good to have like a bit of a reality check every once in a while. I
Yeah,
think.
yeah. Yeah, sure, definitely. And well, obviously with the EP, we're recording this on Wednesday, aren't we? So the EP's been out for about 3 or 4 days now. So like looking since then, what's the fan response been to it? Any sort of messages, feedback, as I say, or sort of like support that has, really stood out for you and sort of made you think, yeah, do you know what? Putting out this EP was the best thing that we did.
Yeah, I mean, the response to an EP is always going to be different to a single. Like a single's very directed and charged. Like one song can get a lot of listens. An EP is completely different. You're relying on people to spend half an hour listening to music, which I think is a different aspect for us. It's like a different challenge. The feedback we've had from people has been absolutely fantastic. People seem to love the music, and like I like every person I've spoke to has had a different couple of tracks that they really like off it. Everyone seems to have got different favourites, which I think kind of hopefully alludes to the idea that the whole thing's kind of good. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm so glad that we did it. I just think it's different. It's completely different from what we've done before, and like I say, it's up there forever now. So it's a great achievement, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it's a fantastic EP, and obviously was fortunate enough to hear it before it came out, and yeah, really enjoyed the listen and putting some words towards it as well on the blog as well that we did for it. But just sort of thinking sort of a little bit live here, have you played any of the track? I'm guessing that you probably have at least played Lights.
Yeah.
Come on to the Cluney headliner that you played last year in a little bit. So if what's the reaction been like to any songs that you have played live so far?
Yeah, live, there's definitely, we've played all the songs live. All the songs definitely get their way into our set list. And they're just like, that feeling's nice, fast, dancey, and people seem to enjoy that. We normally open up with that and Lights. Sleeping on Your Feet, honestly, it's hard to hear myself sometimes. I can only hear the crowd. It seems to be a massive crowd pleaser. But yeah, we're glad with so we kind of had that out already and had it as an acoustic song. But then it was just so good. Like, the lyrics in it are just so good. And I didn't write it. It was our rhythm guitarist Tom wrote it. That the whole band just wanted to get involved, and we ended up sort of like managing to redirect it in a way that everyone could get on it, and it has now got like a bit of a groove behind it, got a bit of a drum beat, got a guitar solo at the end, and like people just absolutely dig it, and I love that. Like people are just singing along to it, and then on top of that, pretty sounds as well. We've got a big ending with the big la la la's at the end that we always get the crowd involved, and we're looking forward to doing that again. Hopefully we can take it to a bigger stage and get like a Hardwick, get some couple of hundred people singing back to her, hopefully, if people come down and watch us before Top Loader.
Definitely, or it'd be definitely got to be worth a shot, and I don't see
Absolutely,
no reason why no one wouldn't join in on that. But is there a track from the EP that has maybe grown on you personally, like most since it's since the EP's come out, since finishing it at all, or was everyone these are our best 5 songs and that's it, we're going to put them all on?
No, there was definitely some humming and hawing about what tunes were going to make it onto the EP. I think Call It Fate was probably the one that's grown on the band the most. So that's the penultimate song. But yeah, it kind of, through working with Martin as well, through working with a good producer, we've kind of managed to change a couple of rhythm sections in it and a couple of drum beats, and now it's more interesting than it was when we first came into the studio. It's a much more interesting song, and like listening to it, I mean, it's obviously easy to say that when you know all the parts that have gone into it, but listening to it over and over again and seeing, like, so for example, in the second verse, after the chorus finishes, there's a completely different drum beat that would never even thought of, kind of like a triplets drum beat, and bringing that into a tune's kind of felt a bit like of a step up for us, like maybe like a bit more maturity and change in the way that we play within a song, let alone just changing to a different kind of genre in a whole song. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
that one's definitely been the one that's grown on me. And we've had it before. It's got a very rock and roll opening with a gritty guitar, and we've struggled in the past trying to get that tone.
Yeah.
Trying to get to a place where we're like, it's heavy, but it's not too heavy. And I feel like this time we were all like, that's it. That's the sound that we wanted straight away as soon as we heard it. And I think it might have even came out of this do you know PV guitars?
Yeah.
I genuinely think we used this like old PV Telecaster that had these bare knuckle pickups in or something like that, and it was just like a cheap guitar that sounded like £1 million. It was absolutely unbelievable. I think that guitar made it onto like every single track after that.
That could be a collector's item in years to come by, right?
Absolutely.
And maybe for those that haven't heard Pretty Sounds yet, and you had to play them one song from the EP, what would be your go-to track and why?
If I had to pick, it's hard not to pick your own.
Yeah,
but,
I can understand that.
Yeah, if I had to pick, I would probably choose "Sleeping on Your Feet." I just think it's who doesn't love a love song? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And it's a love song about falling in love in Newcastle, and like it's where we've grown up. It's our home. So being able to actually incorporate that into the tunes hopefully without it sounding too cheesy, I think definitely brings people around. So yeah, I would show them that 100%.
brilliant. Brilliant. There you go. Highly recommend. So the EP link that's going to be in the episode bio. So yeah, if that's the first track that you want to go and check out, what's track 3, I think it is, maybe
Track number
4.
3, "Sleeping on Your Feet."
There you go. So go head to that one first and see what you think of Alfie's recommendation. But just sort of like looking ahead like a little bit, do you sort of see this EP as being like a launching pad now for Parkview, for potentially for like the next chapter within the band, or sort of do you think that this is going to be what you want to keep doing creatively in terms of like the sound that you have come up with?
Yeah, I think it's definitely a launching pad. I think it's something for us to use to have there, because I feel like a lot of times you apply to play all these different places, and if you don't have enough out there for people to listen to, they can't really make a decision on you.
Hmm.
So I think for us, it's good to have that there just on a purely like just for that sort of side of things, the business side of the band. But yeah, it's definitely a launching pad for us to expand our genre, try new things, get into a different level of music that we've maybe not accessed yet. But yeah, I think there's a lot of good things that can come from this, and yeah, we've got a good lump of stuff to look forward to.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it certainly sounds like it's going to be an exciting time. And obviously, you mentioned as well there about hopefully going back into the studio at some point after the summer. But we're just going to rewind a little bit here and talk about playing live because obviously back when you said before about November time last year, you obviously played a sold out Cluney 2 up in Newcastle there. So obviously sold it out, which is obviously fantastic. Was the gig everything that you hoped it was going to be?
Oh mate, it was better. It was
Brilliant.
it was nuts. Like we knew we'd sold it out pretty early on, but I just wasn't. I don't know why. I just wasn't expecting that many people. Like we had some great bands on before as well, so the whole day was just like a really good energy. And then walking out onto the stage, because I mean the boys all go out and talk to everyone, but I'm really bad for it because my voice goes. I'll just end up yapping too much and not being able to sing. So I was just chilling in the back, just waiting, tapping my legs, and then I remember walking out and thinking, "Wow, bloody hell!" There was like honestly, there was like people on top of shoulders. It felt like being at a festival. Like it
Wow.
was something that I'd definitely never experienced before, and it was a really, it felt like a game changer. It felt like there's just in that moment I thought, there's no way I'm going to stop doing this. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was it was just absolutely class. Everyone there was singing along to all the tunes, having a bit of a dance. Everyone was pissed as well. It was class.
Brilliant. That's great to hear. And it's exactly how gigs should be, right?
Yeah,
People
it
having a
should
few
be.
beers and really getting into it. And just sort of fast forwarding back into sort of well, actually we're gonna look forward to the future here actually, because next Friday you're gonna be supporting the Outcharms at Zerox again up in Newcastle. How excited are you for this gig? Because am I right in saying that this is one of the first gigs that you've done since the Cluney?
Yeah, so we've done a few smaller gigs, but as a band we've been going through a couple of changes. A couple of changes just in general. I think everyone's growing up,
Yeah.
getting on, doing jobs and stuff. So it's a good opportunity for us to play,
Hmm.
to get back into the swing of things. And yeah, I'm really excited, really looking forward to playing at Xerox. We've played a couple of times and it's a great venue, like so. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, sure. And why should people come down? Because this is obviously one of the things, isn't it, that people either just come for the band, either the headline band or maybe they're coming on, if it's first. Because I think you're the main support. Sorry, or
Yeah.
they just come down for for the first support and then they disappear. So for people that are coming down to the gig, why should they make sure that they are there for your set? What can
Yeah,
they expect?
I think if you're up for supporting local music, you know, and you really want to get to a gig scene and see what it's all about, like that's what you do, you know, like the support bands are there to be seen, and we are definitely there to make some noise. So if you want to come along and see what we've got to do, I guarantee you'll be walking away thinking, I wasn't expecting that. That's what it's all about. You won't expect me to reach some of them notes, but I'll tell you, when I'm cupping the bollocks, there's no way you're going to stop us.
Brilliant. Well, just for that, just get down just for that bit. Don't worry about anything
Absolutely,
else.
just for
Just
that
those
bit.
high notes.
Yeah, some good old rock and roll and some operatic singing.
Brilliant. Well, there you go. As I say, it's this Friday. Next Friday, the 30th of May, and the ticket link is in the episode bio for because I think there's still limited tickets available, so do go and check them out. And obviously, make sure that you back your ticket for Parkview
Absolutely.
as well. But I think this is your first major festival appearance is coming up in August.
It is.
Like you're going to be playing at Hardwick Festival. Has it sort of sunk in yet, really? Because when you're just going to reel off some of the artists that are playing, you obviously got some very well established artists in, the Pet Shop Boys, and Scissor Sisters as well. We're going to be there, and also plenty of emerging sort of indie bands as well, such as the Claws and the Lilacs and the Rosadoc. So yeah, as I say, has it sunk in yet that you're going to be there?
I don't think it's going to sink in until we'll actually walk out on stage. I think
Yeah.
it's a completely different aspect of the music for us. We've played smaller festivals, we've played local festivals, so getting the chance to actually get onto a big stage and make some noise somewhere, well, hopefully to a crowd that have never even heard of us before.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like that's what I'm more excited about, is just the idea that there's going to be some faces that I've never seen before.
Hmm.
That's the whole point of making music, is to get it to people's ears. So what better opportunity than being in a tent full of people?
Yeah, yeah, definitely, absolutely. And you were saying before that are you going on before Top Loader? Have I got that right?
Yes, the Top Loader are on our stage later on in the night, so we'll be sticking around to watch them 100%. I also want to catch the Whalers,
Yeah,
because I'm a big fan of Bob Marley and the Whalers. I think
yeah.
they were my number one on Spotify last year, which was a hard conversation with my mother. But but yeah, I'm looking forward to the whole festival. To be honest, playing is obviously going to be the highlight, but even just the rest of the day afterwards with the band, with all the friends, yeah, really looking forward to it.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, look, good luck with that, and I'm sure it's going to be a great day when you are playing. Have you worked out your set list for the festival yet, and have you got anything special planned at all?
Yeah, I think we're actually looking at maybe getting a new couple of new tunes in there. I still need to find out how long we've got. I think we're going to try and push the boundaries, obviously, as much as we can.
Mm.
But yeah, I think we'll be playing the EP in full for anyone who does want to come and see us. That'll definitely be happening. You'll hear all 5 tunes. But on top of that, I think we'll just see where we're at before the gig, see which songs are like making us want to do it the most, because we have so much new music coming through all the time at the minute that I feel like it's going to be a real battle to see which songs get on top.
Yeah, yeah, sure. It'd be interesting, like conversations within the band, and to see what way it goes.
Yeah, it might even be a rock paper scissors job.
Brilliant. What way to choose a set list. Love that. Obviously, the Northeast obviously has got a fantastic music scene going on at the moment. So, from your point of view, from Park View's perspective, kind of like then, what's it like being part of that right now? And sort of, are there any other local bands that you're particularly buzzing about?
Yeah, I mean, it's great at the minute. Newcastle's a difficult place. You know, it's a really difficult place to be making music. It's not like, I mean, you look at places like Liverpool, Manchester, London, the amount of bands coming out of there every week, every month is unlike anything else in the world, even. Like, it's unlike anywhere. But Newcastle doesn't really have that yet. There's no Northern Quarter, there's no Shoreditch yet. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think that is coming. I think it's on its way, and the music coming from here at the minute is really good. it's just finding the opportunities and the platforms to get it to people's ears, to get people to listen. Obviously, we've had Sam Fender, like, who's at the peak of his career at the minute, but there's not really the underneath.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Like, if you think of Liverpool, you think of the Beatles, but you've also got loads of people underneath from Liverpool that are massive.
Yeah.
Or Manchester the same. You think of Oasis, but you can probably name about 20 other bands that are from Manchester. But Newcastle, you think of Sam Fender, and I don't think a lot of people could name anyone underneath him.
Yeah, no, that's a fair comment. Yeah, definitely.
And I think that's something that is changing, and I think there's a lot of good things coming our way. There's Generator NE, who we're working with at the minute, who are they're big at the minute for helping emerging artists in the Northeast. Mm-hmm. We've had some really good backing from BBC Introducing Northeast as well, from Shaq over in Teesside. So I think it feels like there's a buzz going on at the minute. It feels like there's a really big buzz, and something great is about to happen here. So yeah, it's fantastic being involved in that. The bands that are going around at the minute, honestly, it's hard to choose a favourite. If well, I'm trying to think, because I listen to so many. I try my best to try and keep up, because as much as I like supporting people, it's also good to know what everyone's doing. You've got to know it is a competition. At the end of the day, you've got to know what people are doing. You've got to keep up. The guys over at Swindled, fantastic band from over the river. They're releasing some really good music at the minute. I love watching them live as well. They're dead good live. There's another band called Porcelain, who've released some tunes that are very like early Coldplay, which I'm a sucker for. But they've got a really good vibe to them. I think they're going to go places. On top of that, it's honestly, it's really difficult to stop and name them all. But yeah, I would definitely check out them too.
Yeah,
100%.
Brilliant. Okay, well, I'll definitely go and give them a little listen this afternoon. Obviously, we've been talking about Newcastle. Obviously, I've got to mention the football team. Obviously, last time you were on, we were talking about you just qualify for the Champions League, and there was discussion as well. Like the next step would be to try and keep qualifying for it, and hopefully pick up a trophy along the way. Well, fast forward 2 years, you're on the verge of qualifying for the Champions League at the time of recording for this podcast. You've got one game left this weekend. And obviously you've just won your first trophy in about 70 years in the League Cup, which was a fantastic day. And the celebrations looked absolutely fantastic. So, yeah, what was the feeling like winning the League Cup?
Oh, mate. I've never experienced anything quite like it. We were watching it at the flat, because the bars in Newcastle, Christ, if you weren't there at 7 o'clock in the morning, you just weren't getting a seat. Not like that. It was absolutely nuts. It was just feral in town. It was absolutely feral. So me and Alex were like, oh, we'll just pop it on, and then because we were like, you've got to take everything that Newcastle United does with a pinch of salt. It could go great. Often it doesn't. So we were sat there just thinking, just like counting down the minutes, and as soon as the ref blew the whistle, beers in all the pockets that we have, straight to St. James's Park, because it's only down the road. You can like see it from my house, but it's like literally down the road. So we just ran there, and it was like Jesus had came to St. James's Park. Wow. It was like, honestly, people were gathered around Bobby Robson's statue like it was the Messiah. It was absolutely unbelievable. Like the noise, like vuvuzelas, sirens, flares going off. It was absolutely wild. And then a week later, it's followed up by 300,000 people getting in the city centre to see a bus come through. Honestly, mate, there's no, like the Geordie fans, like there's absolutely nothing like it. We're a special breed. We're one big family, one united city, and it really felt like that. It was absolutely nuts.
Brilliant. When the celebrations did look fantastic, and obviously with Crystal Palace winning the FA Cup like over the weekend, it's actually quite nice to see some different names on the
I know.
really, rather than just
Tottenham are going to get one as well, maybe.
Well, yeah. We'll see.
Aye.
And yeah, I mean, obviously, yeah, you can't beat that feeling of finally seeing your team winning like a
Yeah.
big trophy. Obviously, I know you've won like, or it was the championship. Was it League Two back then? I'm trying to remember now when Keegan brought you up, or was it Division One? I'm not quite sure at what point it changed, but obviously you've seen a couple. But yeah, winning a
Yeah, getting some actual silverware.
yeah, a major
Yeah.
trophy as well.
I
That's
mean, we've won the Cellar Cup, like, but I'm not sure how much that counts.
yeah, we'll leave that one. You know,
Yeah.
quietly. Yeah, I won't talk about that one. Brilliant. So look on every This Is the Music Meets podcast, we ask our guests, even I get my words out eventually, a series of questions that are designed to be a little bit more light-hearted, just to help the listeners find out a little bit more about the artists that we are talking to. So first of all, we've got some sort of like rapid, quick fire-ish questions, and if you want to expand on any of these as we're going through, then yeah, go for it. So the first one is vinyl or streaming.
Ooh. Oh, I mean, a vinyl is a vinyl. You know what I mean? You're a
Yeah.
cool guy if you've got a vinyl, and it
Thank you.
is. But streaming, I guess, like you can't get the bus and have your record player. So I think for me, streaming with a good pair of headphones, you can just take it anywhere with you, and it means you can listen to some music in the most cinematic places. So I think it's got to be streaming for me.
Okay, cool. Yeah, nothing wrong with that at all. You know, got some massive advantages. As you've said, studio or stage?
Got to be the stage.
Yeah.
Got to be the stage. I love being in the studio. I love the Gregs and the exciting stuff that we get done in there. But stage, there's just the adrenaline of being on stage. You just kind of be matched.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Can you remember the last song that you had on repeat?
Ooh, last song I had on repeat. Yeah, Beast of Burden,
Oh,
Rolling
nice.
Stones.
Yeah, classic
The
tune.
weather
Yeah,
was
love that.
nice, so I think I just had it on repeat all day.
Yeah. Can't wait to see your Spotify stats at the end of the year.
Yeah,
10 billion hours for Beast
yeah,
of Burden.
absolutely.
And what is your go-to takeaway order?
Oh, got to be a munchie box from the Chinese. Oh wow,
Right, nice. Yeah.
unbelievable, unbelievable. Spring rolls, fried rice, noodles, salt and chili chicken, salt and chili chips. That'll sort me out, 100%.
Well, brilliant. Maybe that'll be your Saturday evening sorted, right?
Yeah, I think that it might have to be now. You've got it in my head.
Brilliant. So we're going to play a little game of Winner Stays On, basically featuring artists that you're going to be playing alongside at the Hardwick Festival.
Okay.
So the Rosadocs v the Lilacs.
The Rosa Docs, I think, take it for me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
great band. Okay, so the Rosadocs v the Claws.
You see, I've been listening to the Claws recently because they're always on my Instagram. So I think it's got to be the Claws.
Yeah, they're a top band, top
Yeah.
band. Yeah, love them. Okay, right. This is a bit difficult one. The Claws versus Top Loader.
You know what? It is a difficult one because although I'm very excited to be performing with them, they are an extreme example of a one-hit wonder. But
Definitely.
I think there's just, yeah, it's got to be Top Loader. It's got to be Dancing in the Moonlight. The amount of it's a wedding song, you know what I mean? Fair
That's
play, they've
true.
done it, they've made it.
Yeah, that's it. You almost don't have to release anything else, do you? Really,
No.
just that one tune. Top Loader v Rianne Downey.
See, I saw Rianne Downey with Paul Heaton at Kendall
Yeah,
Calling.
yeah.
So and I really, really enjoyed the set. There was loads of songs that I hadn't heard before because just haven't really listened to her. So yeah, I think Rianne Downey definitely
Yeah.
takes the pin for me there.
Brilliant. Great choice. Great choice. So sticking with the solo artists, it's Rianne Downey v Andrew Cousin.
It's got to be Andrew. Like, he's a Geordie boy, and he got to back your own.
Definitely, absolutely. And Andrew Cousin v Scouting for Girls.
Oh, you see, right. I've got an older sister, so Scouting for Girls has been in my repertoire since a very early age. So it's got to be Scouting for Girls. I actually think they're severely underrated.
Yeah, yeah. But hang on, what about Backing Your Own? Hang on, that's what.
Oh, I know, but Scouting for Girls have got like a special little place in my heart. Like, honestly, the amount of lyrics I could rattle off is actually quite sad.
You must be about the only person that I've ever found that is like almost like a super fan by the sound of it.
Yeah, it's a bit weird. Like, it is a bit weird. It's not even my fault. It was put onto me by my sister. It's her fault, 100%.
Brilliant. And this is winner takes all. Scouting for Girls v Pet Shop Boys.
Gotta be Pet Shop Boys, doesn't it? I feel like there'll be people outside my house if I say Scouting for Girls.
Don't worry, we can edit out if you want to change it to Scouting for Girls. No.
We'll put it in brackets at the side. Yeah,
close second. Brilliant, great stuff. And obviously festival season is pretty much here, and obviously you're going to be playing Hardwick Festival, as we mentioned, in August. But apart from that festival, what is your dream festival to try and play at?
I mean, obviously, I'd love to play at Glastonbury. Everyone wants to play at Glastonbury, but I'd love to do Leeds, Reading and Leeds. It was the first festival I went to, and it definitely. I mean, it's changed a lot over the years, but it was just always like a rock and roll festival. Reading and Leeds, it was always proper good Indian rock artists coming through. So if it ever gets back to being like that, we're only a phone call away.
Definitely get the feelers out nice and early for 2026, right?
Absolutely.
Well, fingers crossed on that score. And what's next on the horizon then for Parkview? More tunes, gigs. What should we be looking out for?
Yeah, so we're back in the studio over the summer. We're getting a new tune recorded, and that hopefully will be out come the autumn time. Yeah. Going back to school, going back to uni, it'll be good to get a new rhythm out there, get people back into the swing of things. So we're looking forward to doing that. As a band, like I say, we're going through a couple of changes in like not only sort of songs that we're writing, a couple of changes in the lineup as well of the band. Like we've got some all good and exciting, interesting things coming our way. We're working with Generator NE, who I mentioned before, who are kind of helping us they're giving us some really good guidance into the industry. Because like I say, you get into music to be a musician. You don't really even consider all of the important business sides of things. But it is like launching your own business. You're your own CEO. You've just got to make sure that you're selling. Do you know what I mean? That's the whole idea. Is you're getting your product, your music out to people, and they're really helping us kind of get through that. So we'll be doing a showcase with them later in the year that we're looking forward to as well. Yeah. I think that'll be at the Cluney, so it's a good gig venue to be at. So yeah, we're really looking forward to that. So yeah, new music, new gigs, and just looking at getting bigger and better. That's the whole plan.
Excellent. Well, it sounds like it's going to be a really busy 2025. Obviously, we mentioned with Hardwick Festival, and obviously at Zerox on the 30th of May as well. And look, I wish you all the best of luck in the world for it, and fingers crossed that you do get down to Reading and Leeds in 2026 as well. But look, Alfie, look, unfortunately that is the end of the This Is the Music Meets podcast. Look, thanks so much for coming on again. Really appreciate it. I've been looking forward to doing this since you got booked in, so thank you very much for giving up
thank you, Mark.
your time. But before I do just let you go, can you let the This Is the Music listeners know exactly where they can find Parkview on social media?
Yeah, so our social media on TikTok and Instagram is Parkview Official. If you want to go ahead, get on our bio, click the link and listen to the Pretty Sounds EP in full, go ahead and do it. It's all right.
Well, look, great stuff. I'll put those links in the episode bio for people to dive into the music, and it is better than just all right. I can assure you of that. Alfie, look, thanks again for coming on,
Yeah,
and
cheers, Rob.
absolute pleasure, and hope to see you somewhere down the road very soon.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll have to come and do a gig in your end.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And all that leaves me to say is to thank everyone for tuning in to the latest This Is the Music Meets podcast. Please subscribe so you never miss out on any future episodes. And if you're loving this episode, then please leave us a comment, as we would love to hear from you. If you are listening to this episode on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, then do stay tuned, because at the end of this episode, you'll be able to hear Sleeping on Your Feet from the new Park View EP called The Pretty Sounds, which Alfie mentioned there in this podcast episode. So highly recommended. Do go and hang around for that. And obviously, as I said before, the whole EP, Park Sounds EP, the link to that is in the episode bio. So do go and check that out as well. Thanks for watching and listening, and I'll see you very, very soon for another This Is the Music Meets podcast. Remember, the future is bright. The future is indie.
Sleeping on your feet on a lonely metro train, the rhythm in your life is mellowed by the rain. You can't enjoy freedom without thinking of change. Jingles in your pocket make ends to Saturday. Sleeping on your feet on a lonely metro home, too scared to lift your head to see who's off the phone. Well, you know he might come over, take his angers out on me. A world without your love